What is going on, everybody? It's your boy, Stephen. I got Miguel right here with me, too.
What's good, y'all?
This is Death Valley Driver. With our new show, debuting now, our new seasonal professional wrestling show called Temperature Check. We're going to do this every 3 months or so for each season. And this is just basically just checking in on wrestlers who were in one promotion assigned to another. Professional wrestlers that have stayed on with a promotion when there was outside offers. Or just wrestlers just joining a promotion, like looked at prospects, rookies, and seeing how they've done throughout the last calendar year. Not exactly year to year, but like seasonal. So if a wrestler debuted in December, we'll cover them now. So on for spring, so on for summer. And we got 5 people today. We got 5 individuals. Miguel, who do we got first to talk about?
I figure we start off strong here.
Mm-hmm.
How about Konosuke Takeshita?
We'll start off with Takeshita. Okay. The Alpha. This is your boy, Miguel. This is your guy.
And I was quite happy because he worked Shingo Takagi, and then this is when New Japan Pro Wrestling did the 2 events, the back-to-back nights. Mm-hmm. And then he worked Ishii, which that match was sick as fuck.
I love that match. That match is one of my favorite matches last year.
So he worked Shingo Takagi. He wins the Never Openweight Championship. And then he announces that he signed with New Japan Pro Wrestling, which I did not know it was only for 1 year. Hence, we did not see him after the Suji match. Mm. But
I think he's doing a match in Trenton for their for the New Jersey show. Mm. But
I did not know that.
But I'm not sure. I just have a few notes. I just wanted to. So we're just talking about Takeshita's year from just New Japan only. We're not covering his AEW January to January or whatever. This is just AEW Takeshita, New Japan Pro Wrestling Takeshita. So yeah, he started off just a clarity, just a little background before he officially signed a New Japan. At that point, he was like the member of the Don Callis family. This is before they added like 50 people. He was just kind of like the main guy. He was like his son. He was international champion, I think, when they signed him.
Yeah.
When he officially signed with New Japan. So he won the Never Openweight title, and then he was also international champion. Then he signed with New Japan right after Wrestle Kingdom. So immediately signed, 3-way contract, also a DDT. I didn't watch one DDT match last year. I don't know if you did.
Me neither.
Yeah, no DDT. I don't know what they got going on there. I don't like some of the stuff they got going on there, but there's some good wrestlers there. But yeah. So we got Takeshita in general. So let's go over the first few months. He had a few pretty good defenses. He faced I think he faced Kushida really early on.
Yeah, and he faced Kushida, and he also faced Ángel de Oro.
Yes,
at one of the Friday shows.
That match, that was a good match. I think he had the first match with good old Bolton, Oleg Bolton. Yeah, he just racking up some defenses, good matches, obviously ethical Takeshita, and he had his right off the bat, you're kind of given the impression that the New Japan officials really liked Takeshita, and they trusted him and wanted to be a big part of the promotion because he was Tanahashi's last U.S. match. And my favorite Takeshita match last year, at any promotion, any match he was in, the last Tanahashi match in Chicago, some of our friends were there for that, and he beat Tanahashi in a really just compelling match, and that was kind of like a big thing to give Takeshita. I mean, the U.S. isn't like super important to New Japan, but it's important. And to give Tanahashi's last match Tanahashi's last match on U.S. soil to somebody that isn't like solely signed there was a pretty big deal of trust. He eventually loses the belt to the Bull and Oleg. Good chemistry there. And the writing was on the wall. He lost the never open weight belt just for him to win the G1. He had a lot of good G1 matches. Anything in particular that you can think of from his G1 run?
My favorite?
Yeah.
My favorite, in my opinion, is the Shingo match, and also the first Zack Sabre Jr. bout that they had together.
Yeah, the first one is better. First one might be the best of their 3 matches. So Takeshita, he won the G1. He had that match at Evil, which is like really terrifying because I thought Evil was just gonna beat him. And 2 months later, he beats ZSJ for the title. From everything I'm laid out, well, we'll just get to the ending real quick first. But you know, he has a kind of a quick title reign. I think the only significant defense he has is the Hiroki Goto match. I think that's it. And then he drops the belt to Tsuji, like an awesome match. So I think Miguel, on paper, Takeshita has had an amazing like first year in New Japan on paper.
My only issues with this run, so this is like going on Twitter and like trying to find translations and whatever. My only issues was this. So he comes in as the outsider and he wins the G1. Last time someone has done that was Kojima. And not even just the natives, but people here were like very like distasteful of like Takeshita winning the G1. And then he switches from a heel to a babyface, talking about how he wants to unite pro wrestling altogether. Which I thought that bit was a little bit weird. I understand that they were trying to do their best to make him like the face of the company. Well, not the face of the company, but the face of the company at that time.
Sure. Yeah. They really were like going all out on him for sure for that. The fans really didn't respond all that well. Like a lot of people kind of just thought he was, well, first like the kind of like the invader kind of aspect, even though Takeshita is, you know, he has worked New Japan dates for a while now, and you know, DDT, but they just not respond kindly to like Takeshita. I think most people were supporting Evil in that match. I don't know. There was some type of everything on paper just worked out well for Takeshita, but just the fans just did not connect to him that way. I think they respected him. I thought they had good matches, which obviously, but they didn't really kind of connect to him in the way that they have other people. And I think with that, I think Takeshita's temperature check, given the thermometer, I think we can put it like slightly warm there. I think they did everything well in terms of presenting him, booking him strongly, and trying to make him seem as important as possible. When it came to fan reception, it wasn't exactly met with the most positive or even like negative. It just more like people were kind of empathetic to him. But the matches were good.
Yeah.
So I'd put Takeshita a lukewarm kind of temperature. You know, it's fine. It is what it is. Let's keep the ball rolling. Let's keep it somewhat hot. I want to talk about Penta El Zero.
I can't wait for this shit. Fuck.
So, just again, a few notes, you know, chime in anytime. I just want to just bring everybody up to date about Penta. We'll start from a little bit from AEW. So he's like an AEW day one, like not exactly day one, like he wasn't at that press conference that Joey Janela was at, right? But he was at their first pay-per-view, Double or Nothing, and he was even at like the first All In. He faces Kenny in that awesome match. He's been in AEW since the beginning. He was always on TV. He was on every pay-per-view, more or less. Any pay-per-views or TVs he'd mostly miss. It was not because of his talent. It was more like visa issues or whatever. He was always on pay-per-views, always on TV. But he was kind of in that Powerhouse Hobbs kind of role where he always felt more over than his push. Like that's how it is. You can say that Penta is not as talented as some of his other, you know, kind of the mid-carders and AEW upper mid-carders. But he was always over in the arenas, and they didn't really care to do much for him. He was in main events on Dynamite, but was usually to put over somebody like Orange Cassidy, Jon Moxley, whatever. They only won the tag belts once in AEW, which is kind of crazy because we're on like FTR reign 18 and like Young Bucks reign 74. So that's kind of crazy. So eventually, he got offers for WWE. His AEW contract is out. He as if you remember, he denied wanting to leave AEW, said his presence is AEW. And,
is that tweet still up?
I hope so. I hope so. And if it is, that's awesome. But yeah, he just real quick, your thoughts on Penta's AEW run as a whole.
AEW, when I think of the greatest tag teams of all time, obviously people think of the Bucks, FTR, but for me, I think of the Lucha Brothers. Obviously, I have a bias towards them. And Penta, I do wish that he had a run with the International Championship. I felt like he wasn't really used that well as a singles competitor. But I feel like you can insert him and he'll give you a solid match, except your CM Punk.
Yeah, except CM Punk. Yeah, it's weird because, he's easily in one of the greatest tag teams of the 2010s, him and Rey Fenix. We'll get to Rey Fenix in another video, but
I can't wait.
Yeah, that's gonna be awesome. Prove us wrong. Prove us wrong when we talk about Rey Fenix. That's all I have to say. But Penta, he, despite being easily one of the greatest tag teams of the 2010s, his resume would not lead you to believe that when it comes to AEW, trios champ once and tag champs once. So yeah, January 13th made his debut on Raw, gets Chad Gable. Really strong debut. Really great match with Gable. Yeah, that great promo after. And
I think what helped the most was they did it in California.
Yeah.
A lot of Spanish speakers there.
Yeah, he cut a promo in Spanish, and Vince McMahon was rolling in his grave. He is very much alive at the time of recording, but still.
Fucking Bruce Pritchard too.
Yeah, he was yelling at Abyss for some reason. And then a few weeks later, he's in a Rumble. I think he's 1 or 2.
Yeah. He was number 2, and he was also the Iron Man in that match.
Yeah, he longest in the match. He had that team Roman Reigns. That was awesome. Tribal Fear, as I like to call it. Throughout, I'm not gonna name everything Penta did throughout the next 4 or 5 months, but he was always on. He was always on the pay-per-views. He was in the Mania 4-way with Braun and Finn. Dominic who won it.
Yeah.
I almost forgot. It's easy to fucking forget Dominic Mysterio.
And he's been feuding with Dominic for 7 months.
Yeah, for about 4.5 years.
Yeah, and also he feuded with Chad Gable, which started this whole El Grande Americano stuff.
Oh God.
Yeah. He's the reason why this happened.
I guess that's true.
Yeah.
I guess that's true. But overall, even then, he was still on the pay-per-views. He was randomly in that Cena Punk match as a run-in. He was in the Money in the Bank. He was always on. He was super over, where people were saying oh, you should just make Penta world champion, and I was like, okay, yeah, fucking do it.
Yeah, you remember when he first debuted? Well, even before he debuted, they dropped his merch, and that shit sold out instantly. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah. It's $70 mask.
Yeah.
Already sold out. Yeah. Motion. This guy has motion. So pretty much after Money in the Bank, he was in the Money in the Bank match. After that, you kind of appeared less and less on the shows. I'm not even sure exactly non-Rumble how many pay-per-views he's appeared on. PLEs, sorry. He's appeared on since Money in the Bank. And just in general, he started appearing a little less on TV. He got injured for a few weeks after that Solo match. He wasn't supposed to even win that. He wasn't supposed to even beat Solo. And he kind of just floundered on Raw. he would do stuff with Dominic and Solo and the Vision and the New Day and all that. And we'll cap it off with what he's done the most recent as of note. He was in the Rumble again, and after being, longest in the Rumble in 2025, got to interact like Roman Reigns. This Rumble, he kind of like did nothing. Not the worst Lucha Brother, not the worst Lucha Brother in this Rumble, but he kind of like came out like really late, like 29 or something, and he kind of did nothing. He got like stomped in a corner and like thrown out, kind of like a whatever. He didn't look like a chump, but like I can't name one thing Penta did in the Rumble this year.
I'm just shocked that he never won the Intercontinental Championship once.
Yeah. They got to keep it on Dom.
He spends more time recovering at home than defending that fucking championship.
Yeah. God. So overall, Penta, I don't think that he's done anything like, they haven't buried him, right? And they haven't really disrespected him. But it feels like they had a real opportunity with him and they just didn't go out with it. They just didn't seek on and see what they can do with him. I'm not saying that they should have made him world champion, which if they did, peace, fine, whatever. Not having him win the IC title at one point against Dom, it's kind of crazy. And just in general, like keeping him away from his brother. I mean, in theory, they should both be like good single stars, but
weren't they supposed to reunite or like?
Yeah, that's right. The AAA show.
Yeah,
AAA.
Who got hurt? Phoenix or Penta?
Penta from the solo match.
Yeah, so they haven't done anything yet. You would have thought when they did the New Day feud, they would have brought in Phoenix, but no.
No, I guess they have better things for him. So yeah, overall, I think Penta's kind of just what's his temperature? What's a good, I don't have like an official like we don't have any official like, lukewarm versus like warm versus hot. This is just stuff I'm spitballing top of my head. I think he's just just warm. Or no, he's lukewarm. He's like barely. If you got like the Penta soup at like a diner, you would send it back, but politely. Like this could be a little warmer. I don't know. They've kind of they can still salvage Penta and they can probably get him over, and the Lucha Brothers could have a really cool run, but they had a real opportunity and they missed it and it sucks, but it's not too late. It's not too late. Now, what would he be doing in AEW right now? Which I think we should ask for some of these. Takeshita wasn't really somebody you can ask for because he already was in AEW for the full year. But with Penta,
CMLL.
Yeah, I guess he would do more CMLL stuff. But in general, on AEW TV, like honestly, he'd probably just be the same thing he is in WWE. He would be in like some decent matches, and
he'll probably be doing the title eliminator with John Moxley.
Oh brother, yeah, they would do that. Moxley would beat him with like a roll up, and it'd be awesome. But I don't know. I don't think. Listen, WWE could be doing better at Penta right now, but to be honest, they would be doing the same thing in AEW, which whatever. But that's Penta. Let's do Jordynne. Let's stick with WWE.
All right.
Let's do Jordynne. Now I have to talk a little bit more about Jordynne Grace here because Miguel, you're not an avid NXT fan like I am.
Oh, okay, man. Okay. You're not gonna make me watch NXT, man.
We'll see. We'll see how that goes. But just a little background on Jordynne Grace. I love Jordynne Grace as just like a wrestling standpoint. I think she's awesome. Just a really cool like powerhouse that can like work. When she signed her last like full year of TNA, which I watched every bit, every now and then. she was like the face of like TNA just in general for a bit. Like she was kind of the most overact, and she was having really good matches in the knockouts division, working with people that weren't exactly the best. Some really good, you know, but overall she just had like just a solid run, really good run in TNA. Obviously you don't want to spend your entire career in TNA. She got a WWE eventually. Before her WWE signing, WWE showed her like interest, and she was on NXT prior. She had those matches.
She was in the Rumble. As the Knockouts champion.
She was in a Rumble 2024, and she was in NXT a little bit prior to that too. And I think she faced Roxanne. No, she did face Roxanne. I've seen the match. Yeah, that match was awesome, and weird interferences, but I digress. Then her official like WWE debut after signing her contract was the Rumble 2025. She had a pretty good showing. I think she had a few eliminations. And then the week after that, or maybe like a few weeks after, she debuted on NXT. Like she joined NXT, and there was some debate online at the time of why Jordynne Grace is in NXT. You know, on one hand, you know, she was like 27, 28. So that it's fine if you're in developmental. That was one argument. The other hand, she's better than the majority of people on the main roster. So I don't know why she's doing NXT. What side of that argument were you on at that point?
I was on the side that I felt that Jordynne Grace should have been on the main roster, like immediately.
Mm-hmm.
But also there was the argument of, Shawn Michaels would book Jordynne Grace better than Triple H. But you know, in hindsight, he didn't really book Jordynne Grace all that well. Yeah, Shawn Michaels, huh?
I guess, yeah. I guess you would think so, because you know he loves all of his girls, evidently. But I was kind of on the side where I was kind of cool with her going NXT first, just because she's so young, and she's gonna have like years on the main roster anyway. So it didn't really matter to me, just to get used to that WWE style. I didn't care. I thought, you know, her in NXT was fine. It was right before Mania, so they weren't gonna give her anything like significant to do. So I was fine with her starting NXT, but it was divisive. You know, it was divisive for a bit. She had a few unsuccessful like title shots against Stephanie. She was in a 4-way.
Hold on. So the way that she got that match with Stephanie at Battleground is she defeated Julia. Mm-hmm. I think we have to talk about that match.
All right.
That match
let's talk
was
about
sick
match.
As fuck.
I did have that.
Yeah.
I did have that in my notes.
I don't know who was backstage. I don't know if it was Bruce Pritchard, but Jordynne Grace is not going to get a match like that ever again.
Never mind Jordynne Grace. The fucking Julia's not going to get a match like that again. Yeah. She had that awesome match with Julia somewhere in between the multiple title shots, where they were just dropping each other in their head. That was sick. It was a great match. Apparently, you know, allegedly, they were scolded after that match by like Shawn Michaels and the A-Train and William Regal. You know, just the NXT personnel. But match is sick. It's one of the coolest TV matches last year. I'm saying. Then after that, she had those matches at Vacair. She has a really good one at one of those pay-per-views, NXT shows. She has a really good Vacair match. For some reason, you know, Stephanie's being called up, but doesn't beat her for the belt, because they want, you know, JC Jane made more sense, apparently. No disrespect. JC, no, listen. I know how that sounded. JC Jane is awesome. She's a real worker. Great Rumble performance. Yeah, you're not going to have me disrespect JC Jane. But you think, you know, listen, JC Jane's awesome, but Jordynne Grace is next level.
But also what's crazy is once Julia and Stephanie made it on the main roster, you would have thought that Grace would have been champion by now. But no.
Yeah. Well, maybe she will. You know, I'm still reading these notes, you know. You don't watch NXT. I do, so I don't. But so You would think that she would have beaten JC after that. She does not. She has the match at Evolution against JC, and she is accosted. She is betrayed by her best friend, her BFF, Blake Monroe. We will get to her the next video. We will get to her. But currently in the NXT Speed division. So she started feuding with Monroe pretty much all summer. That was just Jordynne Grace's summer. And they had sort of divisive promos, more so Blake Monroe.
Fat shaming,
body shaming, whatever. It's, is what it is. There's a whole other debate about what is actual good heel heat and not. Maybe we'll make a video on that. But they actually have in the summer one really good match. At least I thought, like a really awesome match at a pay-per-view. It was just Blake played a really just shit asshole heel, and Jordynne Grace got good babyface shine. They just had a good dynamic with each other in that match. And then they kind of had a stip match on NXT TV like a month later. That kind of sucked. And that was it. That was it for the feud. I don't know if Monroe won the North American belt at that time or after.
I know that she won it, but I don't know if she was champion by that time.
That'd be kind of crazy that Jordynne Grace beats Monroe while she's the champion, never wins that title. But yeah. So after that, she kind of floated NXT for her remaining time there. She was just kind of there. And she had a mini feud with Kalani Jordan. And she was in the Iron Survivor. Really good match. I don't think she got 1 point there for some reason. Just really strange booking of Jordynne Grace. Somebody at Shawn Michaels, apparently. She made that TikTok with Shawn and Sexy Red. That did happen. There is video evidence of that. But I guess Shawn didn't like it, so. But she kind of did nothing in NXT, and then kind of randomly just came up to the main roster and started feuding with Jade. And yeah, that's kind of been her thing. She hasn't beaten Jade yet for that title. I don't think she is, at least before Mania. I don't know what she's going to be doing at Mania. Probably holding the tag rope. Hopefully doesn't trust another blonde monster. Tiffany Stratton. But yeah. That's Jordynne Grace's pretty much year to year in WWE. Mostly in NXT. Man.
Do you think that she'll have a better run on the main roster?
Well, that's the thing, because I think overall I've put her temperature slightly warm, because this whole year was kind of but I'm pretty confident that they're going to use her well in the main roster. I think it just seems like she checks off a lot of Triple H's boxes. She's got a good look, really good in the ring, funny, Caucasian. I think she just covers a lot of Triple H's. Yeah, I think she'll do okay. I think she'll do really well in time, but this whole year, it felt kind of hazing in a way. This felt get this over with. I think she's just gonna. I think I'm in no shape or form think she's gonna have a bad main roster run. So I'd put her more on the warm side, and just in general, I don't think by Mania she'll be a world champion or anything, or even if she wasn't by SummerSlam, I still don't think it's a failure. I think she's gonna have a really good main roster run. I think she's gonna have great matches like Rhea and Stephanie again. Julia, they'll probably have a match again together. But I think overall she has a really good future on the main roster.
I can't wait to come back to this next winner.
I'm confident it'll be okay.
$20.
Let's hope.
$20. Lay it down.
So what's the bet? That Jordynne Grace? What's the bet that she has Like in a year from now, we can both say that she's had a successful main roster run so far.
Yeah.
I'll take that. I'd take the action.
Because they haven't done a draft yet, and she's stuck with Road Dogg still. You didn't know?
That's right. Maybe she'll get a catchphrase.
I'm the Juggernaut, bitch!
Yo, let's go. Give her fucking Juggernaut driver back too. But I'd take that. I would take that action.
Mm-hmm.
But Jordynne Grace, overall, kind of year, but I think the future is pretty bright. Personally.
Honestly, I would say that she's lower than Penta.
Really? Well, I guess Penta has
but Penta had more hype to him though when he first came.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. He was straight from AEW, and just in general, Penta's like cool guy. Jordynne Grace is cool too, but she doesn't wear a mask. All right. So before we get to our main event, we got one of my favorite AEW women's wrestlers.
Mine
signed in January, I think. She debuted at least in January.
It was February, the Casino Gauntlet.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. It was, I just don't remember. I remember when she debuted. I just like the match, but I don't remember what month. But either way, it's in the winter. But it was our girl, Megan Bayne, the Megasis. You're more of the Stardom guy. I watch when some of my favorites like wrestle, like Starlight Kid, Mayu, before Tam Nakano when she was doing her thing. I still keep up with it, like Saya and stuff, but you're more of the Stardom guy. You kind of know how Megan Bayne was doing before that. How was her Stardom run? I did a few notes, but from somebody that's watched more than me, how was her Stardom run prior to her AEW run?
So what she was known for the most, well, first of all, she wasn't there for that long. Mm-hmm. So what she was known for the most was teaming up with Micah in the World Tag League. As a singles competitor, she wasn't really doing that much. But like I said, what she was known for the most was teaming up with Micah in the World Tag League.
See, I think she won it too. She won the tag league, I think.
Yeah, right? They did. And they failed to capture the tag titles. Also, she failed to capture the red belt much earlier. But when she came to AEW, I really wanted her to be a singles competitor and not stuck in the tag team. And look what you know. She's stuck in the tag team.
Yeah, that makes sense. For me, it was more like I always just heard her name brought up all the time. Like there was always a report that AEW has signed Megan Bayne, or that AEW hasn't actually signed Megan Bayne, or that WWE and AEW have interest in Megan Bayne. And I would just hear that for like most of the summer of 2024, and then I just wouldn't hear anything. And then all of a sudden she signed with AEW, this time for real, and then she debuted in January or February. You know, it's good thing we did our research before this. But either way, we both know she was in a Casino Gauntlet. I think she was an early entrant. She did her thing. She, a good showing. Lost to Toni Storm. So lost her first match. Didn't get pinned, but she lost to Toni Storm.
Also, she beat Statlander pretty early.
She did.
Yeah.
She did. But so far, I think the tag team with Penelope came like really quickly. They just got a team name like 2 weeks ago, but they've been teaming for like pretty early on. So it's like March.
And I understand that they were trying to build their women's division, but they formed in March, and they did not introduce the tag titles till September. Mm-hmm. I thought that was weird.
Yeah, they were together pretty quickly. Like Megan got a partner, like right off the bat. She got big wins over. She beat Hayter too. I think. I'm pretty sure she beat Hayter. I know she beat Statlander. I think she beat Hayter as well.
I don't remember her beating Hayter at all.
I think she beat Hayter before the Monet tournament, but the tournament, the Owen Hart.
Oh,
But I know for sure she beat Statlander, and she was feuding with Tony, challenging Tony for the belt at Dynasty, and a kind of a big moment for Tony when Tony had a lot of momentum from the Hollywood ending. She was like the star of the she felt like the ace because Moxley, he was going through some stuff at the time. We don't have to go into that. I'm not gonna try to besmirch.
it's not canon.
Yeah, that's okay. That's all right. But Tony felt like the real star of the company for a little bit, and Megan Bayne was her big challenger, so Megan got a little significantly over from this, and their match had a real big fight feel to it, and Megan looked great, and I actually liked their match a lot. I think they have the most underrated match in AEW last year. Like, it felt like a real cool pay-per-view world title match, and Megan had a great showing. A lot of people thought she should have won. She lost to Tony Storm. That's 2 Tony, 0 Megan. After the Tony match, they didn't really keep her momentum up in the levels they probably should have. She kind of just floundered. She wasn't losing at all, but she was on TV for the most part, mostly on Collisions, but she kind of floundered for a bit. She had that feud with Anna Jay and Tay, and not Tay Conti, Anna Jay, Harley Cameron. Anna Jay, Harley Cameron. They had a street fight where Harley Cameron's face got fucked up. She was in another Casino Gauntlet at All In. I think she was the second entrant. Lost that to Athena. I digress. I think I picked her to win that match too. Once again, sort of floundered in the mid-card tag division for a while. They announced tag belts at one point, and it seemed like I think I picked her. I did a bet with my uncle about who's going to win those tag belts. I think I picked Tony and Mina, and he picked them. He picked Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford. But she was in the first.
Did you get your money?
I'll get it at one point. But during the time those tag belts were announced, the female Blood and Guts was announced too. She was in that. She looked awesome in that match. Sort of during the build to that match and after, kind of formed an alliance with Marina. You can say what you will about Marina Shafir and her in-ring. There's a lot to say.
She's got aura though.
She's awesome.
Yeah, she's
it is what
awesome,
it is.
Bro. Her theme, you got 99 and you get so bro.
That song
is awesome, bro.
The problem. That's that Mikey Ruckus special. So she was in the first female Blood and Guts. Great performance, and that led to when Penelope got hurt, Marina and Megan formed a tag team during that time. They're really just a really cool presentation. I figured that they're just gonna win the tag belts, Megan, Marina. How can you beat that team? They just look cooler than everybody. One of them wrestles just better than the majority of the roster. It looked like they were pretty a lock to win those tag belts. They lost in the semifinals to Tony Storm and Mina Shirakawa. So that's 0-3 Tony. Well, no, but Megan did beat Tony's team in War Games or Blood and Guts.
Come on, man.
It was called War Games. It's not a WWE thing. It was Dusty Rhodes called that War Games. They didn't say Blood and Guts Daddy. No, fucking War Games. But whatever. So, another loss for Megan Bayne. The Marina Alliance sort of stayed on and off, and Penelope eventually did get healthier. And so comes up to February. Her and Penelope finally get a team name after a fucking year of teaming with each other. Mega Bad, cool. They get a tag title shot at Grand Slam Australia, and you figure okay, Willow already has a belt. She's the TBS champion. She doesn't really need a tag belts. It was cool that you can say Willow Nightingale was the initial champion for these tag belts. And Harley Cameron. You can say that, respect to Harley. She tries. And you can just pass the belts on to Megan Bayne, Penelope Ford, who's been there forever. The Babes of Wrath beat Mega Bad in Australia. So Lena Cross debuts right after the tag title match. She joins the group, joins the Penelope, Megan kind of tag team, makes it a trio, and yeah, I kind of feel Lena Cross looks cool. I've never seen a Lena Cross match, but it kind of made Megan look crazy. Like, she's taller than Megan. It feels like she might, I don't know, like usurp her. I'm not sure what's going on there, but yeah, continue.
I don't mind the pairing just because I like both Lena Cross and Megan together. Okay. And I follow Lena's work. Mm-hmm. It's just, I hope that like Lena does not overshadow Megan and Megan takes the back seat from this. Like that would suck.
Yeah, that would suck. That would suck because Megan is special. Like, she's I think, and I've heard other people say it on Twitter, but I think they're absolutely right. Megan Bayne, I think her real like ceiling of showing how good she is going to be when she eventually turns face. Like, I think of face Megan, like her moveset, just like, yeah, you can be like a dominating heel of her too, and she'll have great matches, obviously. But when she's a face and she does all her cool athletic shit with her powerhouse stuff, then she should, in theory, be one of them like premier wrestlers in that division.
Yeah, she should.
Well, I kind of went over it quick when I was recapping everything. Would you have had Toni Storm lose to her at Dynasty? Because Toni had a lot of momentum coming from the Mariah match, where I can see why TK... Well, in general, I think his long-term plan was Toni Monet, and he didn't really have like a long-term plan for Megan Bayne at the moment. But sometimes when the iron's high, gotta strike it. As you said like 30 minutes ago.
I would have told Toni to look at the bright lights, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True. I get it. I do get it. And it's weird that I think that's her only women's title shot in the company this far.
Yeah, so before we get to the four-way, the TBS one.
Yes.
I want to talk about this. I want to give her props. So while she was doing AEW shows, she went back to Stardom. And then she did like GCW events, which,
Hey, man.
It's whatever. So she goes back to Stardom. She teams up with Hanako. And did you watch the tag league?
No, I kept up with it though, especially her stuff.
So some cool matches, but I just want to give her props because like she's been like a true workhorse for them.
I agree. And it's not like AEW like just keeps her off TV. Like, she is on like all the time, but I don't know. For temperature, I'd probably put her sort of maybe a little cold. I don't know. It just
you forgot to talk about the four-way.
Oh, well, the four-way, I kind of like, we were talking about it. Well, I mentioned to you that I was hoping that she would win that, so our conversation would be a little more on the Megan Bayne pro side. I figured Will already has a belt, even though I prefer to keep the TBS title over the tag belts, but she can just drop it to Megan or whatever. But no, she didn't do it. She didn't take the pin, but she lost to Willow Nightingale.
That one spot though, the avalanche spot.
Oh
yeah. Fuck you, Regal.
Did she? Yeah, that was crazy. That was nuts. Like, in general, she was going crazy in that match all over. She might have been like the best performance in that match, and that's not easy to say when you got Willow Nightingale and Marina Shafir in the same match. It's hard to.
Mina Rasher.
Mina's good, but we'll get to her in another video. Springtime.
I'm not a betting man, but I like the chances of Willow and Megan happening at Revolution. Megan did not take the pin, so yeah.
The thing of Megan is, like, I kind of thought that she was just going to challenge Statlander next. I thought she was coming out a few weeks ago and is going to beat Statlander's next challenger. But apparently you got into TK's ear and you told him, what about Tekla? What if Tekla beats Statlander?
Stop.
Amen. It is what it is. I like Tekla. You like her more than me.
No.
What do you mean? I actually like her, but anyway, Megan Bayne overall, I think the temperature is slightly cold, but like in a way that like she can get over again in just like her in-ring work. Like people go to a show and you remember what Megan Bayne did, because her in-ring work is so cool and different from most of her, peers. But I can't sit here and be totally satisfied with what she's done for the last year. I mean, you can't. It's an unreal expectation, right? To think that she should just beat everybody in her first year, like Brock Lesnar style. But there is like a middle ground. Hey.
I would have done it if I was the booker.
She is that kind of talent. She is that kind of special. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like she could have at least... She should have just been the first tag champs with Marina or Penelope. They could have held off the tournament. She could have won the TBS title a few times. Not too many, but a few. You could argue she could have beaten Tony. I talk like I hate Tony Storm or something, but she's fucking awesome too. But she's sick. But yeah, Megan Bayne. I guess an interesting thing to talk about is, say, because WWE was interested in her, and she went with AEW, maybe for money or for other reasons, travel, whatever. She can do Stardom stuff, but she went to WWE. What do you think? What do you think her first year would have been like? Just completely random hypothetical. First year Megan Bayne WWE. What do you think her ceiling would be?
That's actually pretty hard, because we have this bias, of course, of like, oh, if you plug her in, she'll be the best.
Right.
I'm taking her over most. Maybe except Care. I just don't know.
What do you think? Do you think they'd put her in NXT right off the bat?
Yeah, I don't see Triple H doing much with Megan Bayne.
Yeah. How old is she?
28, right?
It's gotta be. I'm gonna look her up. We did a lot of research before this recording, but not the important type of research. 27. 27. Yeah. She she would have definitely with NXT first then, for sure. I didn't think she was actually that young, to be honest, but she would have definitely been NXT for sure. JC Jane minutes, Lola Vice minutes, Real Worker minutes.
It's just like with her style, right? You would think that with her as a powerhouse, you would think that she would succeed, but like we said that about Jordynne Grace, though.
That is true. They would have definitely had a match. That would have been beast. I feel like when
her and Julia running it back again, fuck.
That's her most known Stardom match, right? The Julia match.
Yeah, for the strong title.
Yeah. She really feels like she like checks off a lot of Triple H boxes for sure. I think her and Rhea would be crazy.
You know how Bianca works powerhouses, right? Like Piper. Imagine her versus Megan Bayne, bro. Yeah, that would be amazing.
Ooh, hold on a minute.
Yeah,
Yo, imagine her joining the Judgment Day.
Oh, we about to bring the pain on.
Yo, let's go. Her and Raquel fighting over Liv Morgan.
All right, man.
What do you mean? She's a powerhouse, Raquel. Big sexy.
Twin Towers.
Yeah. But, yeah, overall, I actually think if she went to WWE, she'd probably find a little more success in a year span. I think I can say that by next year, she'll have some type of gold. What her reign will be like, I don't know. You know, if she wins a TBS title, I can see her kind of becoming a full-time Collider. The world belt, my only problem is if she like won the world belt like tomorrow, I feel like Tony would get it before All In. I feel like All In is just going to be Tony Monet again. Yeah, so hopefully we can talk about Megan Bayne in a more positive light for her career next time we do this. But so far, we can do a little better. But now, we got the main event. We got our last talent to talk about. And how I'm talking about it seems like I don't like the guy. Okay, we're talking about Ricky Saints here, formerly Ricky Starks.
The Revolution's televised.
I'll say this for Ricky. I've always kind of been a pretty big fan of Ricky ever since the Team Taz days. I always thought he was a really good worker. Just like old school in like a lot of his matches. He did a lot of little things that would pop me. He would just it seems like he understood wrestling on a fundamental level. His moveset maybe not like the best. Like I prefer like the Rochambeau was never gonna be something he can do on like a Hobbs type. The spear is just like so overplayed and it's kind of weird to do it as like your size. And that tornado DDT is crazy. It's just crazy, but whatever. But just his like little things you do in the ring, his facial expressions, just little micronisms that not everybody does. And just being like kind of like a natural like baby face and a natural heel. When it came, like I think his face work in AEW is really underrated. They turned him heel really quickly after your initial face turn. But I like Ricky a lot. Just to preface that, I love all my Team Taz. I love most of my Team Taz, every OGs. But just to go over his AEW career, you know, which has been divisive among people online, because people have one way or the other have an opinion on Ricky and his AEW work. He kind of spent the majority of his AEW career sort of like fluctuating between like a mid-card, upper mid-card guy. You feel like sometimes like who's going to break through to the main event level. He feuded with Jericho. He won that feud. He feuded with Jay White, Punk, Bryan. And he was sort of like, oh, it could... MJF challenger. He was MJF's first challenger. For the title for when he won his first world title. And you kind of think, oh, is Ricky gonna make it to this next level? They're gonna push him to the next level, and then he kind of like go back down. He would go to the tag division, a Big Bill, or he like mess around and choose Robinson for like 3 months. It was sort of like back and forth with Ricky. They would give him opportunities. Let's cut the brass tacks, right? Let's cut the brass tacks. Like Ricky, either you think Ricky was not pushed enough by AEW, that he should have beaten these main event guys, he should have been a main eventer, should have been world champion, at the very least TNT champion or whatever fucking belt they added after, or you think that Ricky got the push he deserved. Maybe he was even over pushed. He's not as good as some of these like mid card guys that they weren't pushing at the time. Like you have Roosh on your roster, but you're pushing Ricky Starks. That's been the debate for Ricky for years now. I think both can kind of coexist. I think he was given opportunities and he did well with them, while also thinking that there was other people maybe better suited for it. What do you overall, before we go into his critically acclaimed NXT run, just give your thoughts, Miguel, about Ricky Starks and his AEW run and him. It's just in general as a performer.
As a performer, I like Ricky. Like you mentioned, he brought in this old school feel. It felt authentic. He's charismatic. I wish things were booked better for him. Like, I'm not asking for him to be in the world title picture all the time, but to me, his ceiling is upper mid card. To me,
Sure.
and I do wish that Punk and Ricky feud, continued, but things happen.
Hey, well, you never know. You never know. We can revisit that.
Yeah,
We can revisit that.
but also what the nail in the coffin was for Ricky and AW was Punk's exit in the company. Once that happened, it was pretty much over for Ricky, and you can immediately tell because the influence Punk had.
Yeah, evaporated kind of quick. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that? So, what side are you on? Really, are you like a centralist like me? Or are you a coward like me? It was kind of in the middle. But do you think that he was overpushed in AEW or underpushed?
I guess I'm in the middle.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. We're cowards.
Yeah. It's just him not being more prominent in the TNT picture. It's kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But also, it did not help him more when more talent started signing. Like, do you put any notes of who signed while Ricky was in the company?
That'd be a good idea. I mean, just in general, since he's been there, he debuted in the pandemic. He challenged Cody for the TNT title. And he was kind of like the premier mid-card of our mid-card guys once he joined Team Taz. By that point, since he had joined, Sting had joined the company,
Christian.
Christian. Now, Christian joined a little bit. No, you're right. Christian joined after. Christian, they signed Brian, CM Punk, Jay White, Andrade, twice. Multiple times now. Overall, he's one of those talents that felt once like AEW started signing like Swerve Strickland and Samoa Joe, and just like overall just like worldly talents, it kind of felt like unfair for like Ricky to kind of compete with all that. Like Ospreay, like you're gonna keep pushing Ricky Starks when you have somebody like Ospreay who's connected to the audience very, very quickly. So, and it was tough and a little unfair, but that's how business is, Sometimes you gotta go with what's hot. So, with Ricky, he always kind of had like the fans always kind of knew because of his connection with Cody that he was gonna eventually like leave. Like everybody kind of like had the same idea that Ricky was gonna leave and go to the WWE the next chance he got. And I don't know if that was like always true, but I guess it kind of was. Like there was rumors that he was frustrated with his creative and maybe he was a pain to work with. I don't know anything for sure. What the fuck do I know? But Ricky, his AEW run came to an end. He got hurt in a match with Top Flight. I think he had a match with Top Flight, and he got like a stinger in that match. And they kind of just like, all right, we're not going to do anything more with Ricky. We're going to make you sit out the rest of your contract. We're not going to let you do GCW because of Effie. And that's it. You're going to WWE, whatever. We don't care. We do not care.
Did he get released or did he let his contract expire? Because I don't remember.
I think they just eventually released him because he definitely wanted to be released at one point. He asked to be released. And I think they just let him go in the spring. And
he showed up fast.
Dude, it was quick. It was quick. So
yeah.
He debuted very quickly after his AEW departure. He debuted with no name. We didn't know who he was. He said we all know who he is. But a lot of fanfare when he debuted. He came out next week. Ricky Saints. I don't mind the name. I think Starks is a lot cooler, but it is what it is. He still at least keeps the RS. It's fine. A lot of fanfare in his NXT debut. I think he quickly begins like the Ethan. He beat Shawn Spears for the AEW Rampage title, otherwise known as the NXT North American belt. Because the lineage went from fucking Shawn Spears to Ricky to Ethan Page. They might have traded at one point, but so Ricky, he wins the North American belt really quickly, and it begins like a feud throughout the spring with All Ego Ethan Page, one of the biggest AEW, the WWE success stories. Somehow, Ethan Page ends up winning this feud. They have like one really good match with each other. They also have like a few. They had like a Dynamite match with each other too. That was pretty good. But they have one really good NXT match, and Ricky loses the feud, loses the belt to Ethan Page, doesn't get the belt back. Ethan just kind of wins. So Ricky, loses his first major feud in NXT, and is sort of directionless in the summer. He kind of spends the summer doing nothing. He's on TV a lot. He lost to some I forget.
LFG wrestler.
So yes, yeah. I forget his name. I think the one that won the first season. So not Shiloh Hill.
Yeah. So I was talking to a friend and I was like, "What's Ricky been up to?" And he was like, "He's feuding with an LFG guy." And I was like, "What?"
Beast. Yeah. So Ricky Saints. He kind of does nothing all summer, and he's lost a lot of his like overness. Those rabid NXT fans aren't calling him Ricky Strokes anymore. He's just kind of, whatever. He's floundering, but he does get to challenge Obafemi. He comes out and confronts him after the really good Javon match. Challenges Obafemi for the title. But I don't know. It just feels like it kind of came out of nowhere because Ricky lost a lot of his overness throughout the summer. All of a sudden, they just kind of put him in. They try to force him being over by putting him against Obafemi. So whatever. They have him face Oba in a NXT pay-per-view. Fucking beats Obafemi for Tornado DDT. And so I don't want to sound like a hater, but this has kind of come to the point where Ricky, he's in like 6 months in NXT, and he's around a lot of people that he probably just shouldn't be beating, which is crazy to say. He's a veteran, but he beats Obafemi. Not too many people like it. He holds the belt for a few months, kind of does nothing with it, and loses it right back to Obafemi right before what could have.
And then he relinquishes the title.
Yeah. Oba beats him, so Oba can be on that Saturday night's main event. Does last dance or whatever, and Ricky is like robbed of like appearing on like what probably did huge numbers. I think it did do huge numbers to have a match with like his mentor Cody Rhodes. You think would have been looking out for him, and Oba takes it, and Oba's like, "Actually, I'm not dropping the belt back to you too. I'm relinquishing it. You're not beating me twice."
It felt unnecessary. So he beats Oba. He doesn't even hold the title for that long. He starts a program with Trick, and then he drops the title back to Oba, and that was it.
Yep. He it pretty much nothing. He had I think he had like more than one Trick match, but nothing really to note there.
I think in one of the other ones it was a street fight.
Yes, yeah. He leads Team NXT against Team TNA. Whatever. But Ricky turns heel a little bit after this. He beats Javon in like Javon's last NXT match for the time being. He's heel now. I think Ricky's a really good face, but he probably thrives more as a character, as a heel. So this is, hopefully, going to work out more for him. You think he's just going to win the NXT championship back in a vacant like ladder match. Ricky Starks loses his ladder match. Joe Hendry's NXT champion.
Oh boy.
It has now been 1 year since Ricky Starks. Now Ricky Saints has been in NXT. He is 51 years old. It's not true. He's like 36.
Definitely in mid-30s.
35. He's 35. 35. He just he turns 36 2 days after this recording. So I think this is kind of like another AEW situation in a weird way, where it feels like Ricky, the AEW Ricky, he was given the Owen Hart Championship. He was given a major feud to CM Punk, a major feud to Bryan Danielson. He wins the tag belts by beating FTR in like 10 seconds. He faces MJF for the world title, first challenger. It feels like he's just like AEW. Ricky's given a lot of stuff in NXT, but it feels weird. It feels like somehow Ricky's won 2 belts in NXT in a year span, but it feels strange. It feels
uninspiring.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, like when I go on Twitter, I don't know if it's because I muted NXT.
What do you mean? What are you talking about? Why'd you mute NXT?
I muted everything WWE related, man.
What the hell? You're missing out on Shiloh Hill.
But when I go on Twitter, I see nobody going crazy for Ricky Starks. I just don't know what happened.
Yeah. Even like I don't watch NXT week to week. I sometimes seek out matches I hear are awesome, and I watch them. But I never hear any. Like, I keep up with the product. Like, I know what happens on the show at the very least, but I never really hear or heard any like real fanfare for Ricky. It just, I would hear from everybody else. I would hear about what Trick's doing. I would hear what Opa's doing. Javon. I would hear too much about Ethan Page, but he kind of rocks actually. So whatever. But yeah, it feels, I don't know. It feels there's something. He is 36 years old. I don't think he thought he was going to be in NXT this long. I think he kind of figured that he was going to be like, all right, I'll do this NXT stint for a while, and then I'm up to the main roster, and I'll do my thing there. You got to assume that's kind of what his belief was. But it's been a year now, and still in NXT. Would have fit perfectly in the division. Would have been a fine addition to that SmackDown mid-card division. I feel like Road Dogg would like him. I don't know. I'm somehow, some way, Ricky Starks, who has won the world title there, beaten Opa Femi, who's going to be the future of this industry. Won the North American belt, and overall, like, is on like a pretty highly rated show. Well, it beats Dynamite sometimes, but overall, like, despite all that, it just feels like his temperature just feels cold. It feels, I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. I feel like you think the same way though. But it just feels like there's something off.
Were you on the side of like, Ricky should have been on the main roster, or you just didn't have any faith in Triple H at all?
Well, I kind of was on the side that he should be on the main roster just because of his age. Like, he's not old, but like, I hate when like, I hate that like Gargano and like Ciampa used to visit NXT and stuff. There's a certain point where when it was Black and Gold, it was different. But continue.
I remember I had a debate with my friend. He goes out there and says Ricky's age does not matter because Black and Gold had guys in their mid-30s and shit. And I was like, dude, Black and Gold was like ROH 2.0, bro.
Yeah, it was Black and Gold ROH. Like, this is a completely different NXT.
Yeah. And Ricky's in this roster with like 20-year-olds. And it's like that one meme where it's like they be 37 and they ops be 17.
There's nothing that A-Train can teach Ricky Starks at this point. But here's the thing, like, he shouldn't have gone to NXT right away. He should have just been on the main roster. Not like he had much of a say. I think he just wanted to make his, bosses happy. He seems like he has a pretty positive like outlook on these things. But it's been a year, and also I think on a main roster, I don't really have faith in him. What do you think of like Ricky? If you have to think of the guy that's most similar to Ricky on the main roster, Like, who would you think at the top of your head?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and they don't fucking push him. They don't do. I mean, he's on. They might be pushing him a little bit now, but if they don't do like a significant amount with LA Knight, who was more over than Ricky, more older than Ricky, arguably a better worker. I think they're comparable, they're relative, but if you already have LA Knight, who's already established and still isn't getting the opportunities he probably should be, then what are you gonna do with Ricky Starks?
Yeah, and also in NXT, right? It's not like a Julia or a Stephanie situation or like foreign talents where they go to NXT to learn the style in American TV. Ricky's already done that.
Yeah.
So like, why is he still in developmental still?
It's a mystery. The only thing that I was like, okay, this is fine, was you put him in NXT till Mania season's over and call him up after. That was fine. Whatever. It's been a year though, so I don't know. Former NXT champion Ricky Starks, former North American champion Ricky Starks. I somehow got to cold for me. I don't know. I wish hopefully Ricky in a year from now we can talk about him in a more positive light. Do you like objectively? What do you think Ricky Starks is doing for the WWE in a year?
I have no fucking idea. Probably the US Championship.
Okay.
And that's it. That's it.
Yeah. But that's not so bad though. That's not like a low barometer though. Like it took like Melo like fucking 3 years to win that for some reason. So I think if Ricky won the US belt in a year, that's a positive sign.
Yeah, but also like I do want to be biased and say like, oh, CM Punk, politics, and we get CM Punk versus Ricky Starks main event on Raw, but that ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, Cody too. He's got the weird thing about Ricky is that he allegedly has like 2 guys in his pocket. He's got Punk, he's got Cody. Dude, help him.
Help him.
Do something. Help him. But I don't know, hopefully in a year. Real quick, I don't really know what kind of like alternate reality it would be if Ricky stayed in AEW, what they'd be doing. I think he sort of like, it felt like he was like burning bridges already by that point, or AEW was mad at him, maybe undeserved. But if he stayed around, I don't really, I like what he's doing more in AEW now, theoretically more than what he's doing in NXT. But I don't think Ricky made like the bad choice of going to the see if he could get over there, and because I don't think in AEW he would have won the tag belt to somebody else random, probably like Mark Davis. Shout out Mark Davis. But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, all right, so that'll do it, guys. Hour of recording here, almost hour and a half. We're probably gonna trim this down a decent amount.
230
those
minutes.
are just we'll find a way. But there's a lot of fun talking about these guys, these girls, and their initial year in their respective companies. Next temperature check will be the springtime, covering everybody, every new signing, every new debut of spring 2025. Miguel, who do we got lined up for that?
Yeah, so we have Rey Fenix, Malachi Black, Miro, and Mariah May.
Blake Monroe, yeah, we got to cover her. She came in spring.
Am I forgetting anybody else?
For the WWE side, not that I can remember at the top of my head. AEW, I think we have the cover. We got Jet Speed. We have both of them to see how their year has been. I'm sure it's somebody else we're forgetting. That's because Tony signed a lot of talent. I think Josh Alexander. I think we can cover Josh Alexander. We might not cover all these guys. Some people might not be interesting for a video. Mina Shirakawa, we'll probably talk about her. See how that goes in the next few months. But got a lot of people come up to springtime. this was just the tip of the iceberg. Springtime, you already know. But yeah, guys, this was Temperature Check right here on DeathValleyDriver. Got more content coming out, more reviews, got some debates maybe coming up. Some long-term videos. Want to do the history of the New Japan Pro Wrestling in the 90s, which is criminally not brought up enough by New Japan Pro Wrestling itself, celebrating its history. That's more of a big video we want to get down the line. But yeah, please give us a like to help out the algorithm if you like the video. If you dislike the video, like it anyway, no balls. Give us a subscribe, and we'll talk to you guys next time.